Texas got beat at the Red River rivalry, say that 3 times in a row, by Oklahoma, 34-30, folks. It was a game where Texas got out coached. Texas was the less physical team. They got outclassed on the field, and they made some deadly execution mistakes that severely cost them the game. Kudos to the University of Oklahoma for an outstanding win and an outstanding game played. I am eating crow today. You will see me today at 5 o'clock on with the Hornstown podcast with Seth and Chris with a K. But look, we'll be talking about that more also with Jay Smith from Unfair Sports as well. But you guys will see me on there today, just talking about the game. But prior to that, folks, let's go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to this video, to this channel here on YouTube. And if you're listening to this on the streaming podcast platform, like, comment, subscribe, and share as well. Helps me grow the channel a lot, folks. But let's go ahead and get into the game. My quick thoughts about the game. First off, Texas fans, stop talking about a rematch in December right now. One game at a time. We lost this game 2 years ago in 2021 where Sark was up big, and then OU comes back with Caleb Williams. Okay. And the first thing that was said, and even by me, I will admit this. We're like, look, I think these two are the two best teams in the Big 12, and we will see each other in the Big 12 championship game. I thought that. Folks on the podcast I was talking to thought that. The Oklahoma side of the house thought that as well. And what happened? We went 5-7. Okay. So let's stop talking about this rematch clause here. In December, let's win each game each week, one game at a time. Treat each game as our Super Bowl, folks. Treat each game as our Big 12 championship, because we cannot promise and say that we are just good enough talent-wise to beat everybody out on this schedule. I do think we had the most talent in the conference, but however, we didn't play well enough yesterday to exert that level of talent gap that we think we have against Oklahoma. Oklahoma brought it to us, folks. One thing that I want to talk about is Texas gave Oklahoma a minimum of 13 points, maximum of 17 points. They spotted them that, and I shouldn't say Texas gave it. Oklahoma took it, okay? Quinn's first pass, interception on that pass. And I knew it was a bad pass. The immediate time that I saw him double pump that ball and the ball came out just so awkwardly slow and weird, I said, that's a bad pass. And it sure was. It was an interception. And Oklahoma goes and gets 7 points off that. Next thing I want to talk about, folks, is that roughing the kicker play. Yes, we did block a punt that gave us a touchdown. And I think one thing that we do as a team, once we do something really well, we get very aggressive and try to do it again. There's sometimes where it's 4th and 5 and we understand where it's 4th and 4 at the time. We understand if there's a penalty on us and it's 5 yards, guess what? They get an automatic first down. Okay? We cannot have that. That's what we need to know down and distance, need to know exactly what's in our bag right now and how we can affect this game and change this game. And how do we affect and change this game is getting the ball back, putting it in Quinn Ewers' hands and Jonathan Brooks' hands, who I'll talk about here in a minute, and let them go out and do their thing. And we did not give our guys the opportunity to do that. We run into the kicker, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down. Instead of us getting the ball, Oklahoma gets 3 more points off that. An extended drive, something that Texas, we cannot allow that to happen, especially against good teams. And Oklahoma is a great team so far this year. So that's 2 plays, 10 points. The next one, folks, that I want to talk about. First and goal from the 1-yard line. 4 separate times, Texas comes up with 0 points. That should have been a minimum of 3 points. Maximum of 7. Kudos to the Oklahoma defense for bullying our Texas offensive line. Kudos to you guys. You guys kicked our ass on that drive. You did. Can't knock it. And look, I can even put that on Sark. But one thing I would have loved to possibly seen is if we're going to have Jonathan Brooks in there, spread him out. Spread out the personnel. Don't clutter the box up so much. If we're going to run that kind of play where we have Sweat and Byron Murphy doing their thing as basically fullbacks to block, you have a gap running back there who's a 220-pound freshman that is what he's used to. And that's Cedric Baxter. Let him go out and do that, man. Let him be the guy to just snuff out a yard. He's more built for that, right? He's more built for a downhill running attack. That's CJ Baxter. We didn't let that happen. But look, it is what it is. Can't cry over spilled milk. But that's 17 points max, 13 points minimum. We spotted OU. Okay? No, sorry, can't say that. We didn't spot them. They took it from us. Like on the movie Life, they took our cornbread. They took it from us. Texas fans, I know this, like, honestly, this is hard for some of you guys to hear because I open up my Twitter and all I'm seeing on Twitter, folks, is the refs this, the refs that. No, 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 no. Stop with the BS. The refs didn't do anything wrong in this game. The only call that I had a problem with the refs was that pass interference call in the last drive. That's the only problem. That's the only call I had a problem with. And I say that because there were a lot of pass interference calls that could have gotten called in that game that didn't. I thought these refs were letting them play, and they did let them play for the most part. There were no penalties on the offensive lines, no holding penalties, none of that, folks. And so, look, we saw clearly blatant holds against Finkley, against Sweat, against Murphy, but we also saw our guys holding the Oklahoma defensive guys as well. So they watched that. I have no problems with letting these guys play. But if you're going to let them play, let them play. That last pass interference call, I don't think it was a pass interference call, and the ball wasn't catchable. But neither here nor there. That's the only gripe of a call. That's the only gripe on a call that I have in that entire game. Other than that, I thought the officiating was fine because guess what? They let both sides get away with a lot because they wanted this to be a dog of a game, and we got a dog of a game. And I truly appreciate the refs for staying out of it. A couple plays in there I thought were a little iffy. Couple face masks that could have gotten called, but the one face mask was the first play of the game against Savion Red on the kickoff. Yeah, okay, we get 15 yards in that play. We were at the 10. It's going to put us basically at the 25 where we would have started anyway, or the 30 to 35, whatever. Not that much of a difference if we're running the same script, because guess what? Quinn threw a pick on this first pass anyway, so what's the difference? So, look, that one I'm not going to really harp on. There's another pseudo face mask when Worthy caught the ball in that fourth and one, or their fourth and goal. He got the 1 yard. He was stopped inches short of the goal line. But look, Texas shouldn't have been in that situation. You had three other opportunities to punch a ball in, and guess what? We didn't do it. So look, I'm not blaming that on anybody. But that's the only call. The only call that I had a problem with was that pass interference that put Oklahoma on the 6 yard line instead of the 20 where the ball got yeah, put them on the 6 instead of the 20 where they were at, if I'm not mistaken. But that's it. I don't have any problems with the refs. They called a pretty clean game. Let the guys play. I really appreciate that. We saw some dog play. And then look, I'm seeing stuff in my timeline too. People talking about Danny Stutzman standing over Quinn Ewers. Look, okay, fine. If you guys want to get on that, aren't you guys the same fan? I mean, look, I'm a Texas grad. I'm a Texas fan. Look, yeah, I have the Horns Corner portion of Nino's Corner podcast. I do Recruits Corner stuff. I got an Earl Campbell signed jersey behind me. I got the Nino's Corner in burnt orange. Look, I paid my dues. I'm a lifetime Longhorn member. Literally, I got the card to prove it. Now, if we're going to complain about the Danny Stutzman thing, we were the same fan base. We were the same fan base in week 2 that were laughing at Alabama players for not helping number 32 when DJ Campbell was pile driving him into the ground. We were like, look at him. They're not even sticking there for their dude. Well, where were our offensive linemen when Danny Stutzman was standing over Quinn Ewers, looking at him, taunting him, and laughing at him? You know what? I would have loved for one of our offensive linemen to put a hand around his neck and choke slam him. And guess what? It would have been a penalty. I'm guaranteeing you Sark and Cal Flood would have had no problems with that. Get up off my quarterback. I tell you what, Casey Stutter wouldn't let that happen to Vince Young. Jonathan Scott wouldn't have let that happen to Vince Young. Tony Hills, my homeboy, he wouldn't have let that happen to Vince Young. You know what I'm saying? Blaylock wouldn't have let that happen to Vince Young or Colt McCoy. They weren't going to let that happen to those dudes. And to be quite honest with you, Vince Young wasn't going to let that happen to Vince Young. You know what I'm saying? Somebody get in your face, man. Get up and talk that stuff back to him, man. Show him that you ain't backing down. Neither here nor there. Okay, so I want to kind of set the stage for this podcast today because I want everybody to understand that, look, we didn't lose this game. We got beat. We got beat. Yes, we had some things that we did wrong, but give Oklahoma some credit, folks. They came out, were more physical, and just whooped our ass. Here's what it is. I give All props and kudos to them. They came out and did what they were supposed to do, and they won the game. I don't want to hear nothing about injuries. I don't want to hear about Jake Majors being out. I don't want to hear about Ryan Watts being out. I don't want to hear about JT Sanders being a little gimpy. I don't want to hear about Cedric Baxter being hurt and limping off the field. This team played without their starting quarterback who went up and down the field on us all day last year. Okay. So we don't want to talk about the injury card. Don't bring them injuries up in 2023 when we were laughing at Oklahoma for bringing the injury up of DG last year in 2022. So Texas fans, calm it down. Take the L. We got beat. Okay. We got beat. Now it's time to get better every week. Yes, we understand. We had a chance to win this game. We did. We had a C+ game, and we had a chance to win this game. But guess what, folks? We didn't. We almost won the game. In the words of Monica, almost doesn't count. Can't believe I just quoted Monica on my podcast, bro. But yeah, almost doesn't count. You know what I'm saying? But look, players that I want to give props to. Jonathan Brooks. Jonathan Brooks, if he continues to have a season that he's having right now, he's going to be in deep discussion for a Doak Walker Award. Seriously. He's that damn good. Who would have ever thought after Bijan Robinson left and after Rojo left, these are two of the top 10 running backs that we've probably seen here on this campus, right? That we were going to have a guy like Jonathan Brooks come in and equal what they're doing. He's equaling what Bijan is doing. He might be 10 or 15 yards short of what Bijan is doing over the first 6 games of last year. He was third in rushing in the country before this game. He didn't start 2 games, folks. Let that sink in for a minute. Let it sink in. Brooks is that guy, man. When Bijan and Rojo left, you can ask Texas Homer and Nash and all these guys, and I'm on podcast saying this too. This is going to be eerie similar to when Cedric Benson left, went to the league, and was a number 4 pick of the draft, rest in peace, Ced B, to the Bears. And then we had this little dude named Jamal Charles, who stepped in and did great things for this great university. Now, I'm not saying Jonathan Brooks is Jamal Charles, because Jamal Charles is probably going to be an NFL Hall of Famer. Brooks maybe, but I think we all know that Jamal Charles is one of those guys that he was an electric runner in college and in the pros, holds the NFL yards per carry record for a career still. So I always said Jonathan Brooks is going to shock people because his line is going to be a little bit better than it was last year. And he's going to be running behind a well-matured line, a line that has more continuity than it did last year. These freshmen are growing up and now they're sophomores. And I think we're kind of reaping the benefits off of that. But give Brooks his props too, because he's a dog. Brooks is the first one. The next person I want to talk about, Jahdae Barron. Barron is a dog, man. Straight up dog. Gotta love him. The things that he does in that defense is just truly amazing. A sure tackler, great in coverage. He's going to the league, folks. We're losing a lot of talent this year. We're going to lose a lot of talent going into the SEC next year. Another player that I want to give props to, man, is Jordan Whittington, man. Stand up, man. Jordan Whittington, you can tell he wanted this game. He came out and played one of his best games we've seen here in the Burnt Orange. 10 catches, 10 targets, 100 and something yards, 115 yards. I wish he had 116, so he would have got that touchdown. Wouldn't have to worry about no first and goal. It's all good, Jay Witt. Love you, big dude. Trevondre Sweat. Animal. That's all I can say. He's an animal. He's an animal, man. Oklahoma was so worried about Sweat and the Byron Murphys and the Collins, but you can tell they were so worried about Sweat. They were getting that ball out quick. They weren't trying to run the ball. Texas neutralized that Oklahoma running game, minus DG. DG had the off-script runs, and that's something that we got to live with. But they neutralized that running game. None of the running backs for OU went off, and that's a big part due to that anchor in the middle and Sweat. Gunnar Helm. Man, stand up for Gunnar Helm, man. He had one catch a couple weeks ago. I was hoping he was going to get that touchdown, and he didn't. I'm so glad he got his first touchdown here in this game. I just wish it was in the W. But it wasn't. But Gunnar Helm, man, had a very nice game, some very timely catches. Just an outstanding game by him too as well, and he's such a good blocker too. So that's one thing that you got to love about him. And he's waited his turn and he hasn't left here, man. And he's going to be the guy next year. Savion Red, dog, beautiful pass to Gunnar Helm. Beautiful run, on that was it third or fourth down. I think he ran for like 7 yards or something. He's a dog, man. He's one of those guys that I would have probably liked to see in a Wildcat version, right? On that goal line, him and CJ Baxter. You don't know who's getting the ball, but you know what I do know? That they both dogs and they're gonna push through. Another guy that I liked in this game was Anthony Hill, man. He was all over the field. You gotta love Anthony. He's a player. He is a player. I was talking to one of the ex-players yesterday after the game. Played circa 2002 to 2006, 2002 to 2007 time frame. Man, we were talking about, he said, Sweat's a dog. And he said, Anthony Hill, Lord have mercy. He's all over the tape. He's all over the field. I said, I know, bro. He's something else, bro. So Anthony Hill is that dude. Another guy I want to talk about, Manny Muhammad. Whew. We in good hands, man, when it comes to the secondary now with Manny Muhammad, and also the next guy I want to talk about, Derek Williams. Look, Derek Williams he's our fastest safety, probably covers the best out of the safeties that we have. We're in good hands with guys like Derek Williams. Manny Muhammad as well, blocking that, well, not blocking the punt thing. Keaton Crawford blocked it, and Manny got it for the touchdown. But Manny had really good coverage in this game too as well. One thing I didn't like, I think we did miss Ryan Watts a little bit because of his sure tackling. There are times where Farouk got a ball and he was down behind the first down marker, and he just broke loose because our guys they couldn't tackle him. And that's one thing that Ryan Watts is. He's a bigger guy. When he gets his hands on you, it's over. So that's one thing that we missed. But look, man, no excuses. No excuses. We got out physical. We got out muscled. We got out coached. Yes, we got out coached. Levy was in his bag. BV in his bag. Man, but it was a good game, though. I mean, I wanted Texas to get that dub, but that was still a damn good game. Regardless of who won the game or not, it was a damn good game. But Texas has a lot of things that they can learn from here. They don't turn the ball over 3 times. If we don't get 2 interceptions, we don't get a fumble with our quarterback running the ball and diving head first. It's one thing somebody needs to teach Quinn, that you don't have to dive for every ball. Every time you run the ball, you are the starting quarterback at a team that was the number 3 ranked team in the country. So there's an opportunity now where you need to slide. All right. We need you. What if you get hurt? Right. So that's one thing that he has to learn. He's running like he's Cam Newton out there, Josh Allen, but that has to change. But folks, those are kind of my quick takeaways. But let's go ahead and get into these stats, man. Let's share the screen, get into the stats, and see exactly how these guys stacked up on the metric side of the house. This episode is brought to you by BetUS.com. Go to BetUS.com and get yourselves a 125% sign-up bonus using the promo code NinosCorner at BetUS.com. Folks, go download that BetUS.com app from your favorite Apple phone or Android phone and get yourselves a 125% sign-up bonus using the promo code NinosCorner. All right, folks, we are back. Let's look at these metrics, man. Let's go into analysis. Let's go to the stats on NinosCornerSports.com. Let's take a look at the NCN offensive score here for this game. And if I take a look at this game, the offensive score for this game, horrible for this game. 30.49 is the NCN score for this game. The average is around 50 points or so for college football. A 45% successful play rate. Look here, man. Only 2 TDs for the game. 2 TDs for the game from the offense side of the ball. 4 tackles for losses that we allowed. We allowed 5 sacks, the most of any game during this season. We had 4 turnovers. And look, I count turnovers as interceptions, fumbles, turnovers on downs. So we had a 4th down that we didn't convert. So that's a turnover. We had 5 penalties. So those penalties weren't things that the refs really. The only one I thought that on the offensive side of the ball, No, they didn't affect anything from the offensive side of the ball. Those are penalties that we deserved, right? Those were guys down the field, like things that ain't false starts. Those are penalties that we deserved. So let's go into the defense side of the ball. Defense side of the ball, folks, 36.79. By far our worst defensive standing that we had this game. We allowed 4 TDs, the most that we've done all season. We only had 4 tackles for loss this game. We had 1 sack, no fumble recoveries, no interceptions. We should have had interception. Jaron Thompson, if he intercepts that ball, I'll tell you what, man, it's a different game. But if ifs were fifths, we'd all be drunk. 1 fourth down stop, and we only had 2 penalties. 1 penalty I didn't like was that pass interference in the last drive, but it is what it is. Right? So let's just go ahead and let's take a look at the explosive plays. How did Texas do? Well, let's check the successful play rate. Successful plays here for this game, folks. 13 successful rushing plays out of 35 attempts, folks. SPR rate 37% for rushing. 22 successful passing plays out of 43 attempts, folks. And look, when it comes to the passing plays attempts, I do count when somebody's dropping back for a pass and they get sacked. I count that into this total, right? So that means you either didn't get the ball out quick enough because you got sacked. I mean, because the line gave up. There's a coverage sack or whatever. But that, to me, that is a passing attempt. I don't group that into rushing. That is a passing attempt. That's the thing that differs from my metrics from other metrics. I look at that as a passing attempt because that quarterback is dropping back to pass and he can't find anybody open and he gets sacked. So 22 out of 43 attempts, 51.2% SPR passing rate. And the total rate here for the game is 44.9, so 45%. So 45%, yeah, this number could have looked a lot better without those turnovers that we had. Quinn having those 2 interceptions really, I tell you what, man, he had a very efficient game in the second half, but, I don't really like to talk about those stats in the second half about his adversity and how great because, look, when you put yourself in an adverse situation, I don't give you credit for fighting out of that situation, especially coming up losing. I just don't. I'm sorry. Right. So, look, that's just me. But look, explosive plays, folks. We have 5 explosive plays in rushing out of 35 attempts for an XPR rushing rate of 14%. Really good. 5 explosive plays passing, which are pass plays that are 20 yards or more. And folks on the rushing side is rushing plays that are 15 yards or more. But passing 5 out of 43 attempts. For 11.6%. I want that number to really be around this number, around 14, 15% there. That's perfect. But for total, look here, 12.8% total for the game. So, basically 1 out of every 9 plays we were explosive. Not a bad metric at all. One thing I do want to talk about is rushing yards. Explosive play rushing yards. 114 yards out of 184 yards rushing were explosive play yards. So 62% of our rushing yards came off plays that were 15 yards or more. That's pretty explosive for an offense. Passing, 140 passing yards were yards that came off catches that were 20 yards or more out of 371. So our rate there is about 38%, 37.7%. And then total, folks, our total explosive play rate is about 46%, 45.8. Which comes out to be kind of mid of what we had here for the season. Our highest for the season was week 2 against Alabama. And then we go down from the previous week, which was we had Baylor the week before, and then last week was Kansas. And then so Baylor and OU are kind of at that same rate, 45.8, 45.9%. So 46%. Now, let's take a look at the players, folks. Let's take a look at Jonathan Brooks. Jonathan Brooks was a man-child this game. Okay. Had a hell of a game, folks. NCN number 72.13 for his NCN rushing number, which means, look, average it's between 45 and 50 points. He had 72.3. You're seeing he is besting that average number every game. 22 rushes for 129 yards at 5.86 yards per attempt. If anybody doesn't think Jonathan Brooks is a hell of a player, this is his 4th game in a row with over 100 yards, and he's done it against some pretty stiff competition. We just saw Wyoming be the top 25 team yesterday. Baylor is a Power 5 team, of course. Kansas is the number 23 ranked team in the country, and OU is at the time the number 12th ranked team in the country with a top 5 defense in the country. And so you saw him have 129 yards rushing in that game. Six first downs out of those 22 attempts, around 27%. I want that around 33% or so. But look, I'm not mad at anything Jonathan Brooks did. 1 touchdown, 4 explosive plays out of those 22 attempts. 18% of his attempts were plays that were 15 yards or more. Outstanding. And 8 out of those 22 attempts were successful plays. You kind of want that number to be around 50%. But OU's defense was getting in that backfield pretty often, but he was making guys miss and get to that second level pretty quick. Five catches on 6 targets for 35 yards. And out of those plays, 2 out of his 5 catches were successful in nature. So a 40% successful play per target rate. Jonathan Brooks had a game. He's in discussion now for a Doak Walker Award, folks, if he continues. 725 yards on 108 attempts for 6.71 yards per attempt. NCN number is 79.55. To put it into perspective, I think Bijan's last year was around, I think his total was right around 75 or 76. So, I mean, Brooks is definitely on his way. Let's take a look at the wide receivers now. We're going to go through this pretty quick here. Worthy, first off, probably Worthy had a hell of a game. 51.2, eight catches on 10 targets, 108 yards, folks. 4 first downs out of those 8 targets. So a 50% first down per catch rate. No touchdowns. I wish you would have had the touchdown that 4th down. Two plays that were explosive, so they were 20 yards or more. So a 25% rate when it comes to catches that were explosive in nature. And 5 out of those 8 catches were successful plays. So a rate of about 62%, 63%. And he had 35 yards to yak. So about 4.375 yards per yak per reception. And no pass interference calls on defenders against him. There should have been one. It didn't get called, but hey, it is what it is. Worthy's he's starting to come on these last couple games. So we're starting to love to see that, but he's definitely starting to come on. 453 yards, folks. So 34 receptions on 46 targets, 13.3 yards per reception, 3 touchdowns, 20 first downs out of those 34 catches. Next guy I want to talk about, folks, I want to talk about Jay Witt, man. Jay Witt, all he does is come out and probably have one of his best games that he's had. Well, he's had his best game this season that he's had, probably one of his best games of his career here at Texas. 10 targets, 10 receptions, 115 yards. Jay Witt, I need that 116, baby, though. I need that 116 yards because that would have been a touchdown, man. We'd have won this game. I'm just messing with you, man. You can't complain about him having a 60.79 NCN score here for his receiving. 6 first downs, folks. 1 explosive play, so 1 play that was over 20 yards. I think it was a 23-yard catch. 7 plays that were successful in nature, folks. So meaning when I say successful plays, folks, first down, you're getting half the yardage needed on first down to get another first down. Second down, 70% of that yardage. Third down, all the yardage. And 4th down, all the yardage, right? So he was very successful, man, at a clip of 70%. So look, Jay Witt is like a running back when he gets the ball. Almost half his yards were yak. So yeah, he was, as soon as he gets the ball, he's turning up. He's doing his thing. So Jay Witt had a game. Those are the 2 wide receivers that kind of did their thing. I don't want to talk about, Adonai Mitchell. He didn't really have the best game. So I won't look at his stats here. But one guy I do want to take a look at is the tight end position. And let's get some love to Gunnar Helm. Gunnar Helm, kudos to you, man. And it wasn't just the receiving for Gunnar Helm. It was the blocking. It was he was a complete package this game. The complete package. And that's something that you gotta love about Gunnar Helm, man. He did his thing. I was happy to see him do his thing. And he is one of those guys that I think Texas needed to step up to do great things. And we're seeing exactly what Gunnar Helm is going to be able to do when he is that guy next year, almost by himself. So Gunnar Helm this year, 103.79 score for his NCN, receiving 4 targets, 4 receptions, 67 yards, and a touchdown. 2 first downs out of those 4 catches, folks. 2 explosive plays that were 20 yards or more. He had a 22-yard catch for a touchdown and another 25-yard catch from Savion Red 4 out of his 4 catches. So 100% of his catches were successful plays in nature, out freaking standing. 23 yards to yak. Look, Garner Helm, hell of a game. I wanted to see him get that touchdown a couple weeks ago when he caught that ball, and he didn't. But look, I was happy that he got it in this game. Garner Helm is definitely one of those guys that you root for in this team. And I think that's all I want to talk about when it comes to the individual players, folks. This episode is brought to you by Manscaped.com. Go to Manscaped.com, get yourselves 20% off and free worldwide shipping using the promo code NinosCorner. Manscaped is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming champions of the world. They just released their Lawnmower 4.0 fourth generation trimmer. Go to Manscaped.com, get yourselves 20% off and free worldwide shipping using the promo code NinosCorner. All right, folks, we're back, man. Look, great game by Oklahoma. You got to give kudos to the Sooners, man. They had a hell of a game plan. They stuck to it. They were physical. They brought a sense of nastiness to this game. You have to love what they did. You can see BV has got this team churning in the right direction here in year 2. I told Chris with a K this when they hired BV. I said, I'm not worried about them. OU not getting the hire right. OU in the history of this program has gotten every hire right. They got Stoops right. They got Lincoln Riley right. They got BV right. They do. Texas fans, be on the lookout. They're going to be a difficult team here for the upcoming future. It is what it is. But, folks, all is not lost, Texas. We're right there. We got to stop killing ourselves. The interceptions, the fumbles. We took the lead with 1 minute and 12 seconds left. It was a minute and 17 seconds left. We gave them 77 seconds to drive the length of the field. They did and got a touchdown. We don't have those stupid interceptions and fumbles, folks. We walk away with this game pretty easily, okay? We don't have those penalties, running to the kicker that gives them another 3 points. And we don't do the things that we mentally cannot do in order to win this game. We win this game. So we are beating ourselves in this, folks. This is not that difficult. A few plays here, a few plays there could be a different game plan. Yeah, or not a game plan, but a different game. But I will say this too. Oklahoma had plays that they left on the field too. So everything washes out. Oklahoma had a touchdown that they could have thrown in. I think Dylan Gabriel went to his left. He had his running back wide open. DG throws the ball pretty much at the guy's knees. Even if the guy catches the ball, he stumbles. And I think that was right before halftime. Right. Yeah, that was right before halftime. DG throws that ball in his chest. The guy's still running right now. He threw it at his knees. If the guy catches the ball, I think he stumbles. I don't think he gets in the end zone because he was about 5 yards out at that time. Like he was literally stumbling to even try to get the ball. If he catches that ball, Oklahoma's lucky he didn't catch that ball. If he catches that ball, I think he stumbles. He's on the ground, and they don't get any points at the end of the half. So look, Oklahoma left points in the field too. That's right. So there's no excuses, Texas. You got to play better. You got to be crisper, and just have to be a better, well-functioning, oiled team. But folks, on that note, man, let me know in the comments of this video, what do you think about the Texas versus OU game? I know some Oklahoma fans are going to be in there saying, I know you're saying, I get it. And we deserve all of it. We deserve it all. Okay. Texas deserves every piece of grief that you give us. We deserve it. Great game, Sooners. Not going to lie, great game. Was not expecting you guys to be that physical, just due to the level of competition that you guys played. But you guys came in and you whooped our ass. So kudos to you guys. Great game by the Sooners. Great game by the Longhorns too, man. You guys made it competitive. We made it competitive, folks. We had a C+ game, and it cost us. Cost us an opportunity to win the game. And so now these are teachable moments that Coach Sarkisian and staff can bring to the team to let them know that this is what happens when you're not on your A game every week. Every opponent is good enough to beat you if you allow them to. So that's going to be a teachable point and a teachable moment here for this week. But folks, on that note, man, let's go ahead and end this podcast on a positive note. Do you? Don't be afraid to fail out, grow your environment, understand your brilliance. Horns always up, folks. No matter win, loss, or draw, horns always up. Nino's Corner, we're out all day long. Hook 'em.